Good day, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge the Eastern Guugiyalanji, Bama, Bubu, and elders past, present, and emerging with deep, abiding respect from this Guugiyalanji land where I share with you my knowledge today. I'm coming to you from Eastern Guugiyalanji land today instead of in person because COVID and repeat pesky bouts of COVID-esque exhaustion and brain fog, and then too much rushing about to try to catch up from weeks of COVID, which led to a severe ankle sprain. And now I'm immobile. And I am beyond disappointed that I cannot be with you on campus today. I had been looking forward to this for weeks. I'm so looking forward to being surrounded by proactive practitioners in the women's health sphere, because I have personally faced so much opposition and blowback since becoming a menopause advocate. I've been called vulgar. I've been told intimate dryness is not an acceptable conversation because we shouldn't be doing it, meaning intercourse, at our age anyway. And don't even get me started on how dryness is so much more than just intimacy. And I've been hushed and shamed by our local pharmacist and pharmacy assistant. And it's that pharmacy experience in our little sugarcane town which led to the informal study that I want to share. But first, a bit about me. So my name is Sandy Davies. I'm the founder and formulator of HappyPause Balm. It's a natural, vegan certified, preservative-free, soothing vulval and vaginal moisturizer. The reason I came out of semi-retirement to create this moisturizer was absolute desperation, because I couldn't find anything else suitable. My experience was my GP didn't take dryness seriously and recommended KY jelly for sex. But as you're already aware, working with women's health, dryness is so much more than intimacy. After multiple GP visits over many months, I asked for a solution instead of a sticky lubricant. The only thing he offered was counseling if the lubricant wasn't enough. And while counseling is beneficial for many things, it was certainly not going to fix my dry vagina. I then asked my pharmacist for other options. He came down from the elevated perch of the pharmacy to whisper to me in a tone that suggested that I should be ashamed for having dryness, almost like it was my fault that my estrogen levels were on decline. And then after paying the pharmacy assistant for the recommended pessaries, she wrapped my purchase up tight and she came around from behind the counter and hid it under my arm and gave me a patronizing little pat with a real self-pitying look. I went on to have an allergic reaction to that product, which is what led me on the journey to formulate HappyPause. But we'll save that story for another day. For now, let's talk about people being made to feel shame for something natural that happens to 50% of the population. Yep, that pharmacy experience made Medusa snakes just spring from my head. Not everyone is as confident as me. Most of us are brought up to respect authority, and especially a man in a white coat. So when we're made to feel less than by men or women in healthcare, we internalize a shameful message. I should feel bad about what's happening to me during menopause. I shouldn't ask for help. I should just keep my head down. I should just endure it and push through. And I probably don't really deserve to feel any better. Considering the current statistics out there about the stigma still surrounding menopause, we've really got to do better. There was a report that came out in the UK in 2020 called the Invisibility Report. It ended up discovering statistics that we'd really rather not have to face. They found that 2 out of 3 women felt completely blindsided by menopause. The research went on to discover that 96% would benefit from better support from their GP. And as I shared with you, I can assure you, I got zero support from mine in a remote area where we don't have the luxury of choosing another GP. 94% felt that they would benefit from society being more open to talking about menopause. I still can't believe how often I'm shut down in what I thought were open-minded platforms when I bring up the word menopause. It's the quickest way to clear a room. Trust me on this. 90% of the women in the survey, they came into perimenopause feeling completely unprepared. And I must say, I was in that boat too. I didn't even really know what perimenopause was. 88% would like workplaces to have better policies in place for support. I know just since we've begun to reopen since COVID, 4 women in my circle have left their jobs, and largely from just feeling invisible and not feeling like they have support during menopause. 87% would benefit from the media being more vocal about menopause. Again, I can relate to that because I quite often end up being told not to use the M word if I do make it to a media interview. 83% of women knew almost nothing about menopause. Yep, and that's so true. When we enter peri, we often don't really have any understanding of what's coming. And this bit broke my heart. With the research in the UK, 41% of women going through menopause, they felt lonely, invisible, irrelevant, or dispensable. And you know, that's exactly how our local pharmacists made me a confident, capable, outspoken, knowledgeable woman feel. The findings by the Victorian Women's Trust are very similar here in Australia. And if any of this has sparked an interest for you, order About Bloody Time from the Victorian Women's Trust. I promise it will be a valuable, beneficial read. And you'll still be recommending this book to other women's health advocates 12 months from now. So back when I was still tinkering to create a vulvovaginal moisturiser solely for my own use and a few other women in my close circle, I didn't realize that I was going to go on to become the Vag Queen and begin talking about menopause on a national and global level. Back then, the whole initial experience with the pharmacy was what really bothered me, especially in a rural, remote area where if you're shamed or shunned, not only will you not seek assistance again for that one thing, you'll be shamed and you won't go in for anything else either. And that's just devastating in a rural area. That's when I decided that I needed to dig deeper and see if our shame around menopause goes beyond the bias of our pharmacist and pharmacy assistant into everyone across the spectrum in our little sugarcane town. Now, I realize that many of you are seasoned academics. And if I was your student, this survey would most certainly be a fail. However, I wasn't conducting it for an academic paper. I was doing it so that I could better understand how women in our community felt about menopause. And for any budding researchers out there, I would love to see a proper study around the menopause experience conducted across the entirety of North Queensland. I reckon there's a PhD in it. But my hodgepodge survey that I conducted in Mossman was done in the Douglas Shire towards the end of 2020 and into early 2021 with some of the groups. It was very informal. The age range was 44 to 86, so perimenopausal to postmenopausal. The test group was small, but it was so representative of the diversity of our community, both economically and culturally. The participants were asked to describe menopause in one word. And then perimenopausal participants were asked if they intended to discuss menopause with their GP. Postmenopausal participants were asked if they had. The results were heartbreaking. Almost universally, all of the 40 women and 1 man I surveyed all said that no one saw any benefit of visiting a GP for menopausal symptoms, except for 4 cancer survivors and 2 Yalnji women. And none of the women in the survey ever considered any type of HRT or treatment to relieve symptoms. The most heartbreaking bit of all for me, not a single person had a positive word to describe menopause or their life post-menopause. Rather than it being perceived as a time to thrive, a time to celebrate the end of menstruation, or a time of knowing ourselves and stepping into our power, it was a time of frustration and disappointment, and a time of giving up our identity as sexual beings. Repeatedly, I found that as a message. The words in our regional survey given to describe menopause included repeatedly a swear word or a collection of swear words. I didn't expect that. Roller coaster, nightmare, awful, chaos, sleepless, miserable, exhausting, all negative connotations. So I know this wasn't an academic deep dive, but this informal scratching of the surface, it's devastating proof that we have such a long way to go to break down the stigma of menopause and to humanize its treatment in remote regional areas. So based on census data, there are 5,773,102 people in Australia right now who are experiencing peri and post-menopause. So as a part of that 5.7 million, I ask you to be a positive disruptor of this negative shaming around menopause. Be an empowering voice and an active player in destigmatizing menopause. Menopause is not a dirty word, nor a topic that should be shamed. If you catch yourself whispering, stop. Be that voice of empowerment and confidence and assuring knowledge. Based on current research, with dryness, 70% of peri and postmenopausal women are going to experience dryness and be in need of vulvovaginal moisturizing and care. Even if they put intimacy on hold, they still deserve to feel good down there. Micro tears from toilet paper, skin sensitivities, UTIs, no longer swimming, gardening, or cycling as we age, wriggling, and an inability to sit still. They can all be unspoken signs of dryness that your clients are enduring or putting up with because others in positions of authority have made them feel shame. Let's break this stigma together. West Australian Kath Mazzella, who has an Order of Australia medal, has been tirelessly advocating for greater gynecological awareness for nearly 30 years. She's founded the International Gynecological Awareness Day to help get the word out. It's coming up. So if you're feeling really brave, wear some frilly knickers on the outside on September 10th to show your support and get people having those gynecological conversations. Or you can host a morning tea at work. Or if you hear someone putting on an event, go and show support. So I'm so sorry I couldn't be here in person today. And I'm going to close off with Kath's favorite sign off, which I absolutely love. She always says, "Viva la vulva." So viva la vulva it is. Thanks so much for your time. And I look forward to meeting, hopefully, many of you down the track face to face.